Good afternoon and welcome to our session on Greek-Turkish economic relations. My name is Ioannis Grigoriadis. I'm an associate professor, Jean Monnet Chair of European Studies at Bilkent University in Ankara. And I'm also a senior fellow and head of the Turkey program at the Hellenic Foundation for European and Foreign Policy, ELIAMEP. I'm pleased to be joined today by Bedii Yücaoğlu, who is a board member of Turkey's Industrialist Association, TÜSİAD, and he's going to share his thoughts with us today on Greek-Turkish economic relations. Greek-Turkish economic relations have been a victim of the political disputes of the two sides. For decades, the two sides have been disputing over maritime zone sovereignty, the Cyprus issue, minority rights. And this, of course, hasn't created an opportunity for the development of economic relations between the two sides, which, of course, means, on the other side, that there is a potential. So we have today with us a person who is best equipped to give us information of where we are and how this relationship can be transformed in a way that can potentially help the two countries resolve their diplomatic and political disputes as well. So, John, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be here. The late Turkish President Süleyman Demirel is attributed with an anecdote. When asked how Turkey is doing with one word, he says, good. And then they ask him, how would you describe how Turkey is doing with two words? He says, not good. I think this anecdote summarizes my feelings about the Turkish-Greek economic relations. Last year, the bilateral trade hit $5.8 billion, and that was a record. So on the surface, things look good. However, putting things in perspective, according to IMF data, last year, the Turkish economy surpassed 1 trillion in GDP, and the Greek GDP was around 240 billion. And when we look at the bilateral trade and how much of the total trade that accounts in, the bilateral trade between Turkey and Greece accounts for about 1% of Turkish trade and about 4% of Greek trade. Furthermore, our trade story is not a story of value-added goods feeding the integrated supply chains. We are actually selling each other things like petroleum products, raw cotton, and aluminum. And when we look at the investment flows, we see that the stock of investment by Greek companies in Turkey are about $6 billion, mostly focusing in packaging, agricultural sectors, fisheries, and tourism and construction materials. On the other side, the Turkish investments in Greece are barely reaching 1 billion, with Turks investing mostly in Greek real estate and in tourism assets. The high point for the cross-border investments between our countries was in 2006, when National Bank of Greece acquired Finansbank for $6 billion. And at the time, it was a controversial investment that was criticized by hardliners in both countries, but it ended up saving MBG in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. Unfortunately, the political and the economic environment afterwards did not allow this momentum, this trend to continue. Today, after years of political tensions and economic volatility, where there was no tangible improvements in our relations, our countries have signed the Athens Declaration last December, and the following agreements on trade, energy, education, agriculture, technology, and tourism gave us a new momentum. And Turkish Business and Industry Association, TÜSİAD, and our Greek counterparty, SEV, welcome this positive agenda, and we're determined to contribute to further improving the economic relations between our countries. With this new momentum, the objective is to increase our trade from the current levels to about 10 billion in 5 years, with increased investment flows as well as cooperation on areas such as tourism, custom processes, energy cooperation, and migration. Now, many people would look at this as a success story, but when I look at this, I see a Greek tragedy of missed opportunities and of potential that we have been wasting. On the official narrative is that the limitations of the customs union agreement, which does not cover services, agriculture, government tenders, and does not take into account the requirements of green and digital transformation, is one of the main limiting factors for the economic relations, along with the fact that we are not considered natural trade partners complementing each other's economies, and obviously the macroeconomic and political volatility that both countries went through over the last 15 years. Because we are among friends here, I want to tell you what I really think. I think the real reason why we can't realize our potential is the set of unresolved issues in the Aegean and the Eastern Mediterranean, obviously, and the rhetoric on both sides feeding, demonizing the other and feeding a deeply rooted distrust and fear. Given the geography on the Aegean and the history between our countries, there are several disputes that we would need to tackle, including the delimitation of the territorial seawaters, the delimitation of national airspace, the exclusive economic zones and the use of continental shelf, and the demilitarized status of assigned to some of the Greek islands close to the Turkish shore. These are highly sensitive and complex issues, given their implications on national security. I don't take them lightly. However, the fact is, we are going to continue living together on both sides of the Aegean, and lasting peace and prosperity will depend on our willingness to engage and our ability in finding equitable solutions on these issues. The European Green Deal and the changing European energy security equation after the Russian invasion of Ukraine gives us a unique opportunity. The energy demand in the world and in Europe will only increase, and Europe needs reliable and environmental sources. Today, without any coordination on either side of the Aegean, renewable electricity generation capacity in Greece is around 14 gigawatts, accounting for about 50% of the electricity mix in Greece. And for Turkey, it's about 59 gigawatts, with accounting for 40%. And both countries aim to double their installed capacity within the next 5 to 7 years. Together, we can achieve much more. We can turn the Aegean into a renewables hub of Europe. And onshore and offshore wind, solar, biomass, energy storage, and a smart interconnected grid that allows us transmission to Europe would really bring the two countries together. Europe would gladly provide the financing, This would help us create jobs and become not only self-sufficient in energy, but maybe a net exporter to Europe. This would change the equation in the Aegean from the current zero-sum conflict mentality to a dynamic that can add to prosperity of Greece and Turkey. For each problem, we can find a compromise solution for our differences. If the French and the German leaders like Schuman, Adenauer, and Monnet could build European peace on the integration of their coal and steel resources in industries in 1950s, after 2 devastating world wars, we can come together and develop our renewable sectors together. It cannot be left just to politicians and to 4-year election cycles. So the leaders in business, as well as in academia and civic society, need to help politicians. We need to commit, and we need to create public awareness and support for this cause. I realize this is a daunting undertaking, and it will take years, if not decades. And we would need to start slow, take small steps, build trust, and achieve small wins at first. But as the leaders of our countries, we owe it to the next generations to finally start dreaming together about a future where we can lead from a place of hope rather than leading from a place of fear like the last few generations.
Thank you very much, John, for your presentation. I would like to raise here a point that 15 years ago, the discovery of hydrocarbons in the Eastern Mediterranean was then hoped as an opportunity for conflict resolution. The idea was that the discovery of natural gas in the exclusive economic zone of Cyprus, the existence of natural gas fields in Israel, the later discovery of a big natural gas field in Egypt would create the conditions for the resolution of the Cyprus problem so that all sides can benefit from the new opportunities that this could bring about. Unfortunately, there was a disappointment there. And the Cyprus problem and the other regional problems, of course, Cyprus is not alone there. Like there are other big and long-standing disputes in the region. They kind of integrated the energy question. So the energy became yet another chapter of the dispute between all sides. And that was, again, a great missed opportunity. Now, as you very correctly stating, the European Green Deal provides a new opportunity. And, of course, this has to do with the fact that Europe has decided to reduce its dependency on Russian natural gas. This has to do, of course, with what's happening in Ukraine. But apart from that, because of the fact that we have global warming and shifting to renewable energy is a matter of survival now for our planet, right, and for our countries. So in that respect, the Aegean Sea is one of the most gifted regions in the Mediterranean in terms of their wind potential. But the two sides have to find a way to start collaboration without having resolved their disputes in the beginning. The hope is that building this trust and this partnership will allow all sides to think again about their positions and find a way that a rules-based relationship between the two sides is promoted. So definitely, energy and renewable energy is a big opportunity for the future. But I would like to ask you, because we have a few minutes before we end, do you identify any other areas of cooperation between the two sides, like based on your experience and what you see through your contacts with Greek partners?
Certainly. First of all, the political issues really overshadow any kind of increased cooperation between the two countries. And as a result, I think we have all resigned to the fact that there are these issues that are not resolved. They are with us sort of going forward. And if the politicians one day find a solution, then we'll be happy. Unfortunately, the next step after resigning to this fact, basically we stopped making plans together. For example, Greece and Turkey, two neighbors, are not in the top 10 of each other's trade partners, which is basically telling me that Greek and Turkish business people need to sit together and plan what they can do together because there's a lot of unused potential. Now, there are a number of sectors that we can sort of think of. Obviously, tourism is the easiest one, and this is a discussion we had with you earlier. We can jointly sort of market the Aegean in new geographies like China. We can jointly plan how to provide the best experience to the tourists coming to our sort of part of the world. I think the opportunities are in all sectors. It's just that this veil of political, the weight of these political issues basically create a barrier for all of us. What we need to make sure is there needs to be engagement across all segments of society. We cannot leave this to just politicians when they need it, when they really sort of have to sort of get some positive wind in their sails, they engage with each other, and then they just stop this. We need to have the engagement at the levels of business, academia. We need to have student exchanges. We need to have a lot more interactions, because it's only through these interactions that we will create a shift in the popular opinion. I have never had a case where I sat down with our Greek friends, had dinner, and had a bad experience. And I can, I don't know if Angelina is still here, but I would much rather have a dinner with a Greek friend than our sort of Northern European friend. So I'm sorry to tell them, because we are very similar. We basically, there are more similarities than we can find with anyone else, except this sort of constant propaganda about fear about the other sort of party, the distrust, that is not allowing us to sort of explore each other or get to know each other better. And this is, as the leaders of two societies, we need to make sure that we have more exchanges, that the average person on the street has a clearer picture as to what the other country is and is not.
Thank you very much. Let me conclude with an optimistic point here. When the sale of Finansbank to MBG was discussed, there was a lot of discussion and a lot of fear-mongering in Greece. I remember what the headlines were saying about how bad a decision that Takis Arapoglou then was making, who was the CEO of MBG. And there was this negotiations with Hüsnü Özyeğin, the then owner of Finansbank. And there was even some sort of backlash in the Turkish media. There was another planned takeover of Alternatif Bank by the Alpha Bank, which was kind of canceled. So there was some reaction, but this turned out to be a very, very smart business decision. In a few years, MBG sold the bank to a Qatari sort of company and made billions of euros, which happened to be very important because that was the time when Greece was entering its financial crisis, and the Greek banking sector, of course, was getting a lot of pressure. So that was a brave decision that paid off, and hopefully Greek and Turkish entrepreneurs are willing to take such decisions again and help restructure the relationship, both on the economic and on the diplomatic level. So thank you very much, John, for your presentation, and thank you very much for your attention.